Why does this company suck so bad? It took them 10 fucking minutes for them to piss all over any possible good shit they could have done here tonight. 10 fucking minutes in. What is wrong with this fucking company? What asshole is running this shit? I just wasted the last 3 hours of my fucking life watching this crap. Why? Why do I keep doing this to myself? I don't fucking know. For this stupid thing? No. Why do I keep doing it? Loyalty? No. No, it has nothing to do with fucking loyalty. I couldn't give a shit less if the WWE died and the company burned to the fucking ground tomorrow. I'm a fan of pro wrestling, not this sports entertainment garbage that I just watched. Show this May 23rd, 2016 from Baltimore, Maryland. I don't think they ever said the name of the goddamn arena. Not that it fucking matters. Show starts off, of course, with a recap from Extreme Rules last night. The title match between AJ and Roman. Mostly short little clips, not really showing much. Because, of course, they don't want anybody to see what actually happened. But specifically it shows Rollins coming out of nowhere, kicking Roman in the jewels, and pedigreeing his fucking face into the mat. This is followed by the usual Raw intro video and some pyro. And Rollins' shitty fucking music hits. And he comes out to a huge pop from the crowd. He's wearing a suit. And he gets a welcome back chant. He starts talking, saying that something to the effect of he's declaring war on Romans and he fired the first shot last night. With this picture that he shows, picture of him dropping Reigns on his face with the pedigree. The crowd's eating up everything he's saying. And he says, "Did you guys miss me?" Yes, 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 yes. That's what the crowd does. And then Rollins decides to flip it into dick switch. He goes heel. He's not going to be a babyface. Saying shit that, before I left, you guys booed me. You said I was one of the weakest champions of all time. You guys were basically calling for my head. Shit like that. And It was only after I got injured, I got all these fan letters, emails, tweets, people wishing me well to get well soon. And he says, what did I do with all of that? I threw it in a trash can where it belonged. Yada, yada, yada. He goes on and on and on. Finally, out comes Reigns to a big, huge chorus of boos. He's still getting booed harder than Rollins is. Reigns comes out carrying his ugly belt. And Rollins starts, he takes off his jacket, he's getting ready, he's like, okay, come and get me, motherfucker. Come at me, bro. Roman gets up on the apron. Rollins is like, come on, come on, come on. Roman gets into the ring, and Rollins immediately punks out and gets out of the fucking ring. Like the coward punk bitch he always has been! This is why we fucking hated you, Rollins. 'Cause you're a chicken shit. You're a scrawny little punk bitch with no balls. I was hoping in the 7 months you had off, you would have grew a pair. But you didn't. All you've done is stayed the whiny little pissant bitch that you were before. So instead of having a good storyline where Rollins gets hurt, goes away to rehab, does some soul searching, comes back, and admits his mistakes, saying, I was a coward, I hid behind the authority, I was their lapdog, but they're gone now. And thank God for that. I'm going to turn over a new leaf and I'm going to be a good guy now. Instead of having an interesting storyline like that, no, I'm still a whiny little pissant, chicken shit coward who runs away from every fucking fight. Rollins is trying to leave. Shane's music hits, and he comes out to a pop. And he comes down, and he gets in the ring with Roman. And he's like, come on back, Seth. Seth hesitantly gets back in the ring. And Shane starts talking. And he says, I can see Seth's point of view, him never having lost the title. He had to go away, vacate the title on injury. So he wants a shot at the title he never lost, and I can see his point of view. This is what Shane is saying. So, tell you what we're going to do. At the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, we're going to have that very match. Rollins against Reigns for the ugly belt that Seth never lost and Roman never deserved. That's going to be the match, the main event match, at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view in Vegas, May 9th, or June 19th, whatever the fuck it is, who cares? Upon this revelation, Seth is overjoyed. He shakes Shane's hand, and he's pumped, and he's like, I'm gonna get your shit, Roman, and he leaves. That's the end of that shit segment. Seth comes out, pisses away any goodwill he could have possibly had. Fucking little shit. I'll be completely straight up with you guys. I've never liked this little shit. I always liked Ambrose out of the Shield. Out of all three of them, Ambrose has always been my favorite. Still my favorite of the three, because obviously Roman is shit. Rollins is a good wrestler, but he's never been that good at promos. He doesn't have the charisma, and he's an awful fucking heel. He makes for a way better face because of his high-flying offense and shit like that. And they are ruining him with this shit. That was half of the reason why I wanted him to come back as a face, so he could actually play to his strengths instead of accentuating his weaknesses, which is what he's doing with this heel shit. You have a smaller guy like Seth, it's not a good idea to have him be a coward too. Anyways, rapid fire, the asshole commentators, 5 fucking matches are hyped up back to back to back. First up, Cesaro versus The Miz. All of these matches are qualifier matches for the Money in the Bank match that will be at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. This is to see who will become the next holder of the Money in the Bank contract. First one, as I said, Cesaro versus The Miz. After that, Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler. After that, Chris Jericho, who for some reason is not fucking gone yet, after the ass whooping he took last night at the hands of Ambrose, for some reason Jericho is going against Apollo Crews. AJ Styles will also go against Kevin Owens. And finally, Sami Zayn will take on Sheamus. And again, as I said, all of those are qualifier matches for the Money in the Bank match. After the final hype on the final match that they announced, they cut to a commercial break. Coming back, we're backstage, and there's Sheamus in the interview area. And sure enough, standing next to him is Renee Young. And she asks him about what are your feelings going into this match against Sami Zayn qualifying for the Money in the Bank. Sheamus cuts a dog shit promo, because he's always been terrible at promos. Basically, the gist of it was, he's talking about this new era, and Sammy's one of the guys from the new era, and he's tired of hearing about the new era, and he's going to put an end to it. Like I said, shit promo. I fucking hate Sheamus. I always have. You need to shave that fucking beard and that god-awful mohawk. And whatever jackass casted you in the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie to play fucking Rocksteady should be shot. Moving on, cutting to the arena, out comes Sami Zayn to a pop. And of course, out comes Sheamus to no fucking reaction. We get the match between these two. Turns out to be an okay match. There's an Olay chant, and Sami does his spot where he gets thrown into the barricade, but he jumps up and moonsaults off of it and splats on top of Sheamus. Oh yeah. Directly after that spot, Sami goes to throw Sheamus in the ring. He throws him into the ring, and Sami gets up on the apron. And he goes to get into the ring. Well, as he's bent over to get in, Sheamus knees him in the fucking head, knocking Sami all the way back out of the ring to the floor. And a commercial break. After the commercial break, they wrestle around a bit. Sheamus does his fucking Irish curse backbreaker. Sami comes back with a Michinoku driver. And Sami goes for his Lucha DDT, the one where he grabs him by the hand and he goes to run up the turnbuckle. Well, Sheamus, I think, kicks the rope out from under Sami's feet, and so I think he crotched himself on the fucking top rope. Who cares, who cares, who cares? Sheamus goes for his brogue kick, but Sami ducks underneath it. Yada yada, more bullshit. Sammy hits the fucking hell of a kick and gets the 1-2-3. Sammy, the underdog, beats the guy twice his size. Crowd pops, of course. Sammy qualifies for the Money in the Bank match. And Sheamus ain't happy. He's pissed. He flips the fuck out in the ring, and he storms off to the back. We get hype for Charlotte having some State of the Women's title address. Basically, Charlotte's just going to come out and cut a promo that's going to suck. And it did suck. Anyways, commercial break. Coming back from the break, there's Renee Young in the interview area. And there's Apollo Crews. And she asks him about this match he's going to have with Jericho later on. Crews says it's going to be the biggest match of my life, yada yada. Up comes... or no. Yeah. Sheamus comes from out of nowhere, decks Apollo Crews, beats the crap out of him, ranting and raving, yelling about the new era, and you think you're better than me, while he's beating the fuck out of Apollo Crews for no reason, throws him into one of the stupid storage trunks. And so I'm like, well, what the fuck was that all about? Sheamus is just attacking the new era guys. Whatever. Cutting back out to the arena, out comes the New Day guys. To a pop. And while they're coming out, I notice that there's a big birthday cake sitting on a table in the ring. The New Day guys, they get in the ring and they start talking. And they say, we're on episode 1200 of Monday Night Raw, which means it's over 23 years old. And we got this birthday cake for Raw. Because it's Raw's birthday or some shit. And then one of them mentions, you know, historically, the wrestling ring isn't really a safe place for the cake. So we're going to move the cake out of the ring. So they start trying to get the cake out of the ring, and Big E's out on the outside, and he gets the cake. And then they start teasing like they're going to throw this cake on somebody. There's this one little kid at ringside who completely no-sells. The kid, I don't even think he knew where the fuck he was. He was probably doped up on so much Ritalin or Adderall from his fucking parents. The kid's barely tall enough to see over the fucking barricade. This little blonde towhead motherfucker. And Biggie's like, am I going to throw it on the kid? And no, you're not, because your face is. You wouldn't do that to a kid. But the kid completely don't give a fuck. He's just like, huh? And then from inside the ring, Woods and Kofi are like, but how about hit it with JBL? And Biggie goes like, I'm going to throw it on JBL. And then they're like, no, but Byron. And then while this dumb shit is going on, from behind Kofi and Woods in the ring, there's the social retards, Axel and Bo Dallas and fucking Heath Slater. Apparently they were scheduled to have a match against the New Day. They clobber the New Day guys, beat them down. Big E has to put the fucking cake down somewhere to get in the ring to help out his buddies, and he gets beaten down. And I'm like, what the fuck is this dumb shit? Why are the social outcasts still a fucking thing? After the three of them get done beating down the New Day guys, they do a bow lap around the fucking ring. And they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, the match between these six has started. That's right, it's a 3-on-3 six-man tag match. Unicorn Stampede and somebody, I think it was Heath Slater, up on Big E's shoulder, and Big E throws him towards the corner, his corner where Kofi and Woods are waiting. He throws him up for a snake eyes, and Kofi and Woods both do big jumping like enziguri kicks at the same time, so Slater just gets face full of ass kickery. Whatever the fuck. The idiot outcasts, for some reason, go to do a bow train on the outside of the ring. Slater falls the fuck over because he's still selling after getting his ass kicked. And then Bo and Axel turn around and they get clobbered by somebody, whoever the fuck. Or no. The two of them turn around because they notice that Slater just fell flat on his fucking face. Xavier Woods hits the ropes and does a big swanton dive over the top rope on top of the both of them and wipes them the fuck out. Back in the ring, Big E gets the fucking, I guess it was Slater, up on his shoulder, and Kofi comes down for the DDT. They do the big ending DDT, which is their nifty tag team finisher. 1, 2, 3, and they get the win. So the New Day wins, and the crowd pops. And the New Day is celebrating, but they're like, wait, the cake, right? And then they go out, and they get the cake, and Slater's on the floor, and they get the cake up, and Slater's getting up, and they just cram this cake into Slater's face and knock him on the fucking floor. We get hype for the match between Cesaro and The Miz. That's going to be next. And they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the commercial, Miz's fucking music hits and he comes out with Maurice. To no fucking reaction. And they get in the ring and they both have microphones. And I'm like, why the fuck does Maurice have a fucking microphone? That bitch's voice is horrible. She introduces Miz as still Intercontinental Champion, my husband, The Miz. And Miz says the same thing because he's like, since you people ain't reacting, I'm gonna repeat it. Like, no, we're not repeating because you're fucking boring anymore, motherfucker. God damn. The two of them talk back and forth, yada yada, bunch of shit. They go to kiss each other, and Cesaro's music hits. And I'm like, thank God. It's the last thing I want to see is those two kiss again. It's like, we get it, Mike. You got a hot girlfriend. Eat shit. Or you got a hot wife. Eat shit already, motherfucker. Cesaro comes out to a pop. And we get the match between these two. A good match. Cesaro starts plastering The Miz with uppercuts. Back and forth to the different corners and fucking hell. Maurice has to pull Miz out of the ring to save him. And Cesaro, once Miz gets back in the ring, Cesaro gets him up for a suplex and he's just holding him there. And Miz starts to counter, hitting knees coming down. And like, Cesaro goes to like drop the Miz, but he holds him and he picks him back up into the suplex. And he nails the suplex. Later on, he hits his corkscrew uppercut springboarding off of the ropes. And they cut to a commercial break. And later on, The Miz hits the tribute to Maurice. And Miz is working on Cesaro's shoulder because it's still taped up. I don't know why the fuck he leaves the tape on it. The commentators even pointed out, that's just a bullseye. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Way to point out the holes in your fucking logic. Assholes. So Miz is working on his arm, including doing an arm breaker over the bottom rope, yanking Cesaro's arm, Oh. Cesaro does a series of uppercuts on the Miz. Miz hits his corner clothesline. And for some reason, Miz goes up to the top rope. And Cesaro drop kicks him off the top rope all the way to the fucking floor. And while Miz is on the floor, Cesaro comes around the ring. He charges around and he does that big charging uppercut, nailing Miz into the corner of the fucking barricade. Hit with so much force, Cesaro goes over the barricade and into the crowd. Back in the ring, Cesaro goes for the swing. But he can't do it for long because his shoulder is still hurt. Once again, I believe Miz went to the top rope to jump off. And as he jumps off, Cesaro catches him with a nice uppercut and floors the fuck out of him. Picks him up, hits the fucking neutralizer. 1, 2, 3, Cesaro gets the win. And a pop from the crowd. Cesaro has qualified for the Money in the Bank. Yay. And then we get a recap of the opening segment with Rollins and Reigns and Shane McMahon. And we cut backstage to Renee Young in the interview area. And she's with Seth Bitch Boy Rollins. He talks a lot of hot garbage. And then he looks over and there's Stephanie. And he's like, "Oh, hey, Stephanie, what's up? It's been a long time." And Stephanie, still with this fucking pretend act, like she's not a heel. She's like, "Oh, hi, Steph. I don't know if you've noticed this, but things have changed around here." And she's just like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, shake the hand." Moving on. Back in the arena, Jericho's fucking music hits and he comes out to no fucking reaction. And his back and arms have bandages all over them from the fucking thumbtacks last night. And this is my only moment of pleasure in this show. Seeing this fucker suffer. Why couldn't you just fucking go away, Jericho? Why couldn't you just fucking go away? The crowd don't give a shit about you anymore. I don't give a shit about you anymore. Nobody gives a shit about you anymore, Jericho. You have completely worn out. You're fucking welcome. So take the hint and fuck off. Picture recap from the Asylum match last night. And then they cut to a commercial break. And when they come back from the break, Apollo Crews comes out, completely no-selling the beatdown he took at the hands of Sheamus earlier. And in fact, they even show a replay, a recap of the beatdown Sheamus laid on this motherfucker. And Crews come out, he's still all big smiling, completely no-selling it, he's still skipping around doing his usual shit. This fucker needs to be demoted back to NXT in a hurry. He also gets no reaction from the crowd, by the way. And I completely forgot to... Oh, it doesn't matter. We get the match between these two fuckers. Sheamus is watching it backstage. There was a dueling chant. And then there was a "We Want Ralphus" chant. For those of you who don't know, Ralphus was the name of a security guard that Jericho had way the fuck back in WCW. That's an old goddamn reference. That's like from fucking 98 or 99, man. That's old. At that point, I just fucking give up on this shit. I wrote down, I really don't fucking care anymore. Jericho gets the walls of Jericho, but Cruz makes it to the ropes. And then there was this really odd spot. I think it was botched. In fact, I'm almost pretty goddamn sure it was botched. Jericho goes for the lion salt. Cruz does a nip up, right? But I think his legs slipped out from under him, and instead of nipping up and standing upright, he fell back flat on his back. So instead, I'm guessing what the spot was supposed to be was Jericho was going to go for the lion salt. Cruz was going to nip up to dodge the lion salt, and Jericho was going to splat flat on his face. But because Cruz's legs slipped out from under him and he fell back on his back, Jericho lands on top of him. It looked clumsy as fuck. I'm guessing it was a botch. Some guy in the crowd even shouted "Botchamania." Who cares, who cares, who cares? Bunch of bullshit. Jericho hits the code breaker and gets the win. Jericho just qualified for the fucking Money in the Bank match, despite the fact that he needs to go the fuck away. Crowd's dead, by the way. Camera cuts back to Sheamus, who watched the whole match from backstage. And Renee Young comes up. I don't know why the hell she would even ask him anything, but she asks him something to the effect of, "What are your thoughts on what you just saw?" And Sheamus just laughs and walks away. We get hype for the match between AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, and they cut to a commercial break. And when we come back from the break, they're doing another stupid fucking video package for Darren Young with Bob fucking Backlund. And Darren says something stupid, pisses off Backlund, and Backlund says, "I want you to recite all the fucking presidents, all the US presidents in order." And Darren's like, "Ain't nobody can do that shit." And fucking Backlund starts rattling them off, and I'm like, anyways, shit promo is shit. We cut back to the interview area, and there's JoJo, for once. My guest at this time, Baron Corbin, who comes up looking ugly as shit. He segues into a recap from last night, him beating... JoJo segues into a recap of last night, the nut shot heard around the world. Not really, though. And JoJo asks him why you did that. And Corbin's like, "Because I can." And I really don't understand why anybody's questioning how I won in a no disqualification match. Up comes Ziggler, who roasts Corbin verbally, throwing a number of insults at him. I can't remember them. And then asswipe Corbin fires back, ripping off a line from the Joker in The Dark Knight. I don't even remember which line it was. Something about, maybe it was the "I just do things" line. I don't know. Who cares? He cuts a bad promo because he really sucks at promos. Ziggler, on the other hand, cuts a good promo, challenging Corbin to a technical match. Because, that's Ziggler's whole thing. He's like, "Why can't you beat me in a technical match?" And Corbin's like, "Because I'm not here to be a technical wrestler." That's what the line was that he stole from the Joker. He said, "I grew up beating the crap out of people. And somebody told me if you're going to do something, or if you're going to be good at something, you never do it for free." That was the Joker line. Blah-de, 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 blah. End of segment. Hype for the match of Ambrose versus Ziggler. And then back out in the arena, the Enzo and Cass music hits. And I'm like, oh crap, is Enzo actually back this time? Because Cass, I don't know if he's going to be okay on his own. Cass comes out by himself. But he stops at the top of the ramp, and he's like, and he points back towards the thing. Out comes Enzo! He's fired the fuck out, dancing around. Yeah, the crowd was popping huge for that, because they're like, yes, finally the charismatic guy is back. Because seriously, Cass, he is wooden as fuck on the mic. I'm sorry, but he talks in such a monotone, so flat and boring. He's got no emotion hardly in his voice. Enzo comes out. He's fired the fuck up. Crowd's chanting, how you doing, how you doing? And Enzo goes through his spiel. I'm a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here is Big Cass, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, realest guys in the room, how you doing? Another how you doing chant. They make their way down to the fucking ring. And Enzo continues on saying, now as you guys may know, I've been gone for a little while. I forgot to pay my electric bill. They cut my lights. Making a joke about the concussion. He says, the doctors diagnosed me with a concussion. Or as I like to call it, a hard sneeze. And he even does this thing. I don't know what the fuck that was. He's talking about, we got a couple of haters. Devin and Bubba Dudley fuckers or something. I don't know what the fuck. He starts talking about the Dudleys, and Cass ends it with the Dudleys are soft. And then the Dudleys music hits, and they come out to no fucking reaction. And then we cut to a commercial break, and when we come back, the match is going on between Big Cass and Bubba Ray. And basically all this bullshit is a fucking filler storyline match. Nothing really happens in the match until on the outside, Devon decks Enzo from behind, distracting Big Cass in the ring. Later on, Cass ends up on the outside of the ring. Enzo comes running, and Cass lifts him up and launches him at Devon. He wipes out Devon. Back in the ring, Cass takes to beating the crap out of Bubba, gets him down, hits the ropes, and jumps and does a big fucking, he calls it the Empire Elbow, and he gets the 1, 2, 3 off of it. And I'm like, that's not his fucking finishing move. What, you couldn't pick Bubba Ray's fat ass up to do the East River Crossing? That's probably what it was. Bubba, you fat fuck. You goofy fucking Roger Rabbit fuck. You just jobbed to a guy's signature move, by the way. So, yeah, your spot in TNA is looking a lot better for you right now, isn't it? Oh, wait, they don't really pay people. Maybe not. At least you wouldn't be shit on like this. This fat piece of crap was TNA World Champion. That still baffles me. This fucker isn't worthy of being Tag Team Champion right now, let alone World Heavyweight Champion. He has always just been a loudmouth New York prick who's really good at pissing people off. That's all he's ever done on the mic. You can go back to old ECW shows where all he does is just start shitting on somebody in the crowd, egging him on, trying to get him to jump the barricade to get into the ring to get decked. Because, of course, any of the fans tries to get in the ring with fat fucker Bully Ray, he's going to deck him. Because he's nothing but a loudmouth New York prick. And I think he's got a serious case of arrested development. Anyways, after the bullshit match, which was meh, by the way, we cut backstage. There's Charlotte and Rick and Dana Brooke. They're coming out next, and we cut to another commercial break. Coming back from the break, they do another pick recap, this time of the Charlotte-Natalya match. Charlotte's shitty music hits, and she comes out accompanied by Rick and Dana Brooke to no fucking reaction. And this is where they really turned up the diarrhea dial. Flair starts talking. Rick starts talking, and he's hyping up Charlotte. Yeah, I'm so proud of you. You done good, this and that, all this shit. I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud. The crowd starts chanting boring. And I'm right there with them. This shit is boring. This bitch Charlotte is fucking boring. Speaking of wooden and goddamn flat, dull delivery on the goddamn microphone. And she has this, I don't know what the fuck it is. She like bedazzles this area around her eye with like little jewels. It looks like she just got done blowing the vampires from Twilight and they jizzed glitter all over her face. And she's like, no, not in the eye, so it goes around the side. That's what that looks like to me, bitch. You need to knock that shit the fuck off. I don't know if you think you're being kitschy or cool. It's not cool. You have Twilight vampire jizz on your face. And you look like a tranny. Charlotte finally starts talking and she says there's one person I'd like to thank. And that would be myself. Yeah. This is where she goes full-blown fucking heel, folks. Dana says a few words. She says, I want to thank Charlotte for allowing me to share a ring with the dirtiest player in the game. Charlotte starts yelling at the crowd, because they're like saying what to her and that kind of shit. And she's like looking at Rick saying, I know what you meant all those years talking about being the man. Well, now I'm the woman. And I'm thinking, I think the debate is still out on whether or not you're actually a woman, okay? And like I said, she goes full on heel, telling Rick, you can get the fuck out of my ring. She turns on her own dad, citing reasons, you were never there for me when I was a kid growing up, fucking all this and that. And she says, everybody from your generation, they're all the same. They never want to leave the spotlight. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's true. These old motherfuckers who never want to go the fuck away. And they really should. She continues running Flair down, and he starts crying because he can cry on command. This motherfucker. And she says, I don't need you anymore. You're dead to me. And I'm thinking, this is so lame, I had to write that down. Rick finally starts getting out of the ring, leaving, and Charlotte's nah, hey, goodbye. This actually got heel heat from the fucking crowd. I'm thinking, this is the only way they could have gotten this bitch some fucking heel heat. Because she's got no fucking charisma otherwise. And turning on a legend like Flair commercial break. Coming back from the commercial after that downer, out comes Dean Ambrose to a pop. Yay, it's time for that. And while he's coming out, another picture recap. Again, showing the same picture recap we got earlier before Jericho and Apollo Crews match. They showed the same one, the picture recap of the Asylum match. They show it again. And then out comes Ziggler. And this was a surprise because Ziggler gets hardly any reaction. It almost sounded dead quiet for him. Usually Ziggler gets a pretty decent pop. I guess he's just been buried so much, the crowd is finally starting to not care about him anymore. I can't say that I blame the people. No matter how talented this motherfucker is, no matter how charismatic he is, no matter how passionate he gets when he starts cutting some of these promos, you have him lose every fucking week after week, and he only hardly ever wins. He won a match or two against Corbin, only to have his nuts knocked out of his sack last night. And he just loses and loses and loses. The crowd's just starting to not care anymore. Thank fucking God this is almost over. I only had to waste 2 pages for notes on this shit. We get the match between Ambrose and Ziggler, and once again it turns out to be a good match. These two put on a fucking clinic. And I had to put that down. They start putting on a fucking clinic at the beginning of this match. Another commercial break. And after the break, Ambrose hits a nice super butterfly suplex on Ziggler off of the top rope. You know, the double underhook suplex. I call it a butterfly. Ambrose hits his suicide dive on Ziggler. And then Ambrose goes for his lunatic fringe elbow drop. But as he comes crashing down on it, Ziggler rolls through. You know, like the classic spot where like a guy will go for a crossbody, but the other guy will roll through and get on top of him to go for the cover. Ziggler does that, showing how good he is. Ziggler ends up hitting the Fameasser. And then you do that spot that I fucking hate. Both guys hit the ropes, and they come at each other, and they both go for crossbodies, and they just in the middle of the fucking ring. That fucking collision, it looks heinous every fucking time. Ah! Finish of the match comes, Ziggler hits a super kick on Ambrose. Ambrose falls backwards, goes through the ropes, and clotheslines the fuck out of Ziggler with the rebound. It's more of a lariat than a clothesline, because he swings for the fucking fences. And like I said in the video last night for the pay-per-view, Ambrose used to use a big swinging fucking lariat as a signature to set up his old finisher. And I'm glad he's swinging for the fucking fences with this clothesline again, because it makes it look so much better. And him being crazy, of course he would swing with all his fucking might to just try and clobber this motherfucker, you know. So he nails the clothesline. Whatever. I don't know what the fuck. Ziggler went for the zigzag. But Ambrose was in the corner and on the ropes, so he grabs the ropes and shakes him off. And as Ziggler rolls through, Ambrose grabs him, kicks him, cinches him up, hits him with the fucking dirty deeds. 1, 2, 3. Ambrose wins. Pop from the crowd. Ambrose has now qualified for the Money in the Bank match. And I'm glad, because I was saying something about this again last night. With Rollins going against Reigns for the title, if Ambrose wins the Money in the Bank, we could end up with the Shield 3-way that we've been wanting to see since the Shield broke up. This is immediately ruined by the goddamn commentators who bring it up. They mention exactly that. They say, you know, if Ambrose wins the fucking Money in the Bank, he could end up cashing in on Rollins and Reigns in the main event of the show and make it a three-way, and it could be the Shield thing. And I'm like, great, now it's not gonna fucking happen because you just brought it up, you ass clowns. Thank you for shitting all over that good idea. Because no, as soon as they mention it, it's not gonna happen. So, somebody else is probably about to win the fucking Money in the Bank. Go the fuck away, bug. Cut to backstage. There's Rick crying his eyes out, walking through one of the backstage hallways, and I happen to see Becky Lynch standing up against a wall in the background. She doesn't come into play at all. Rick walks up, and there's Arn Anderson. And Arn hugs him, and Rick starts crying even more. Renee Young comes up, and she asks him, you know, you didn't really get to say anything to Charlotte when it happened because she chased you out of the fucking ring so quickly. Do you have anything to say to her? And I think Rick tried to say something, but he was all choked up. He's like, I can't. And he just walks away crying. They hype up once again AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens, which is going to be next. And they cut to a commercial break. And coming back from the break, we got the most laughable thing. Another stupid video package of Primo and Epico. But it's not like their normal video packages. They're just standing there against this weird background. And they're talking, and they mention, our debut last week was so nice. The crowd loved us. Oh, did they now? Because I remember hearing nothing but goddamn crickets last week when you fuckers came out. They loved you. Unless love is the sound of silence, I'm pretty fucking sure no. And again, they invite everyone to come visit Puerto Rico, the shining star of the Caribbean. This gimmick is already dead, Vince. Try again. AJ Styles comes out to a pop. And we get another fucking picture recap of the title match from last night at the pay-per-view. And afterwards, AJ still has his little jacket, hood, vest thing on. He's got a microphone. He starts talking. He puts over Roman, much to the ire of the crowd, who boos the shit out of that comment. And AJ mentions that, you know, if it wasn't for the Usos and Gallows and Anderson, I would probably be standing here as the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. But, you know, I don't want to dwell on the past. I got another opportunity to here tonight to go for the Money in the Bank, and he gets cut off by the Bulletproof music. Out come Gallows and Anderson. And they're kind of mad about what AJ just said. They say that they're on the mic and they're like, if it wasn't for us, what do you mean if it wasn't for us? You know? And they're talking back and forth. Things have changed. And AJ's like, look, you know, I don't want this to come between our friendship. You know, we're still boys and everything. But I'm just saying, like, professionally, we need to go our own separate ways. You know, you guys go do you alone, and I'll go do me alone, you know. But Gallows and Anderson ain't having it. They're like, no, fuck that. If it wasn't for us, you would have had your ass kicked in so many bar fights, this and that. And they're like, no, fuck you, we're not friends anymore. And then AJ's like, okay, fine, if that's the way you want it, whatever. And he says, but, for right now, this is my ring, and I'd like you guys to leave because I got a match against Owens, and I'd like to get to that. And so Gallows and Anderson fuck off. Commercial break. Coming back from the break, they announce that on SmackDown this coming Thursday, we're going to see a rematch between Cesaro and The Miz. No, this isn't a rematch for the Money in the Bank qualification. This is a rematch for the Intercontinental title. Since Cesaro just beat the Intercontinental Champion, Shane and Steph, I guess, decided he earned himself a title shot. So we're going to see if Cesaro can beat The Miz for the title. He probably won't, spoiler alert, because Cesaro can't be holding any title going into Money in the Bank. Because if he has a title, he's not fucking winning the Money in the Bank. Also announced for SmackDown, another rematch from the pay-per-view. Kalisto versus Rusev in a rematch for the US title. Not like anyone fucking cares. That match will only serve to give the crowd a good eyeful of Lana. Kevin Owens comes out. Don't think he really got a pop. I think the crowd was just as dead as I was at this point. After being stomped in the nuts with Rollins right at the beginning of the show just being a fucking piece of shit, I was basically dead the rest of the goddamn night. That wrecked my whole night there. I really wanted Rollins to be a face and just come back and stomp Roman and take back the title he never lost. That would have been cool. Nope. Rollins can't be a face because Roman's the fucking face, whether we like it or not. This is what I got to say to that, Vince, Roman. He's not the face we want. And he sure as hell isn't the face we deserve. So we get this match between AJ and Owens. And it turns out to be a good match. But I still don't fucking care anymore at this point. I'm completely zoned out. I couldn't give a fuck. AJ hits a nice springboard phenomenal forearm to the floor on Owens. Commercial break. Owens hits his cannonball. And Owens goes for a double jump moonsault. The way it was, he was up on the top rope, or sitting on the top rope going for something. AJ had kind of fought him off. Owens fought him off. And then Owens, he's from the second rope. He jumps up, turns around, and then moonsaults. Showing his agility, especially for a guy of his size. Owens is good for that. He's actually very agile. I mean, he's been hitting frog splashes lately. He can actually do a 450 from the top rope. Or at least, he has before. He does moonsaults. This motherfucker is agile for his size. And that's one of the things that makes him such a good wrestler. Anyways, Owens goes for this double jump moonsault, but AJ gets out of the way. AJ goes for his own springboard, hitting the move that beat Kurt Angle in TNA for the TNA title, the springboard 450. Only gets a 2 count here. And it was at this point that the crowd started chanting, "This is awesome." Which, fine, the match was actually pretty good. Oh yeah, there was an interesting spot. Owens was on the outside, and AJ went to do another springboard. But I guess Owens moved out of the way, so AJ just turned gears in midair, lands on the apron on his feet, and then comes sliding with that knee and cracks Owens in the face with that knee. And they had set this up previously when they had spilled out to the outside. Somebody got thrown into the ring steps, and so the top half was knocked off, and the bottom half, which has the nice big flat part, was sitting there in the corner by the ring post. And I don't know what the hell AJ went for. I think it might have been he charged off of the apron to dive onto Owens to give him a nice big Hurricane Rana to the floor. Well, Owens catches him, turns him around, and power bombs him on the stairs. And the ref is looking right at it, and I'm like, why is that not a DQ? He just blatantly used foreign object. Then again, I'm guessing, they throw each other into those stairs all the time, so maybe the ring stairs just don't count as a foreign object? Because it's technically part of the ring? Still, that should have been a fucking DQ. Anyways, this spot only serves to do the fucking 10 count spot, where afterwards, Owens rolls into the ring and he's telling the ref to count. Well, the ref is counting. He gets to 9, and AJ just barely slides into the ring to beat the 10 count. Ooh, and then there was this really good, smooth, buttery spot. AJ and Owens, these two are so fucking good. And I respect the both of them so much because they can put on some great matches, especially with each other. Owens goes for his pop-up powerbomb. And by the way, Owens, you really need to come up with a new fucking finishing move because this pop-up powerbomb is so flawed. And I'll tell you why. You have to throw him into the goddamn ropes to do it. Anytime you throw somebody into the ropes, you're opening yourself up for trouble. Because number one, they can just hook their arms on the ropes and hold on, or they do the thing that Zayn always does. When you pop him up, he can just drop kick you or just go over top of you and land on the other side. That's what AJ does here. Owens pops him up, AJ lands behind him, and AJ immediately does the fucking Pele, and Owens turns around and gets drilled by the Pele. It was so smooth and buttery. It looked fucking great. Thank you, AJ and Owens, for doing that spot perfectly. It looked great. Damn bug. Anyways, the finish of the match comes. AJ's in control. He had knocked Owens down. Don't know what the fuck with. But anyways, AJ had just gone for a pin, got a 2 count. AJ rolls out to the apron and gets up, and he's getting ready for the phenomenal forearm. Well, he goes for it, and Owens sees it coming, super kicks his feet out from under him, and AJ lands nuts first on the fucking top rope. And Owens grabs him, gets him on his shoulders, I think. Well, he grabs him onto his shoulders from the rope. I don't know if he turned it into the pop-up powerbomb or if he just brought AJ down, threw him into the ropes, and then popped him up. But he hits the fucking pop-up powerbomb, and Owens gets the 1, 2, 3. So Kevin Owens just qualified for the Money in the Bank match. And I'm pretty sure the crowd was fucking dead at this because they really wanted AJ to win, obviously. As good as Owens is, AJ's phenomenal. You can't beat that. That's the end of the fucking show. Owens leaves and AJ is left looking dejected in the fucking ring. Excuse me. And all I could write at the bottom here Thank God it's over. This show was shit. There was a couple of good matches, but didn't help after being repeatedly stomped in the nuts by Rollins in the opening segment. I'm not happy. I fucking hate this company. I fucking hate the morons who are running the show. Triple H and Vince. And Stephanie. You don't even have to be on the fucking show to ruin it, Paul. You ass clown. Oh, and what, was this Vince's decision? Eat shit, all three of you. Fuck the McMahons. Fuck Vince, fuck Stephanie, and double fuck Triple H. They can all rot in fucking hell. And I'm guessing Vince isn't far from that, because he's fucking old. By the way, breaking news, Cody Rhodes asked for his release from the company over the weekend, and got it last night. No more Stardust. I don't care. I never thought Cody was all that good to begin with. He never really had any charisma. He was a decent wrestler, but decent was about it. The McMahons, for some reason, has always had a problem with the Rhodes family. They basically, when they brought Dusty into the company in the early 90s, they treated him like shit and made him look like a goofball. The fucking ugly polka dots. And having him act like a buffoon, shaking his fat ass with that horrible, ugly black chick he was with. Sapphire. You fucking kidding me? That was a slap in the goddamn face. Goldust's entire career has been a slap in the face. For the most part. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I'm guessing the McMahons are like, yeah, nothing lost there. Not really, because, Cody's never been that great. I'm sorry. He hasn't been. Like I said, decent wrestler, but he's never been that good at promos. He's got that horrible lispy thing because his tongue is too long for his mouth. And then this Stardust gimmick. Oh my god, the fucking Stardust gimmick. It's like, let's take Goldust and make it even worse. Make it even more outlandish, even more effeminate. And that's one thing that I cannot stand. Effeminate fucking wrestlers. Unless they're actual women, they should not be acting effeminate. Wrestling is supposed to be about macho men. Ooh yeah! Macho men doing masculine things. Flexing and being tough. Not chicken shit cowards like Seth Rollins who run from a fucking fight and hide behind mommy and daddy, Triple H and Stephanie. You can't do that anymore, Seth. Paul's gone, and Stephanie is acting like she's acting like the motherly, nice type now. I still don't believe it for a second, and I don't think anybody else does either. Show's over. I guess I'll recap the matches again as I always do. First up, we got Sami Zayn defeating bitch mohawk douchebag Sheamus. Zayn qualifies for the Money in the Bank match. And then we got a 6-man tag match that saw the New Day basically completely job out the Social Outcasts. And then we saw Cesaro defeat The Miz, also to qualify for the Money in the Bank match. We saw Chris Jericho defeat Apollo Crews also to qualify for the Money in the Bank match. Big Cass defeats Bubba Ray Douchebag in a meh fucking throwaway filler storyline match. Ambrose defeats Dolph Ziggler also to qualify for the Money in the Bank match. And in the main event, AJ Styles loses to Kevin Owens. And so Kevin Owens qualifies for the Money in the Bank match. Now, those are the first 5 qualifiers for the Money in the Bank match. Apparently, there are still 2 spots left open. So, God only knows how or when they're going to have the other 2 spots filled or qualified for or whatever, and God only knows who they're going to have fill those slots. Not that I fucking care. If anybody besides Ambrose wins that fucking Money in the Bank, let's see, you've got Sami Zayn, you've got Kevin Owens, you've got Cesaro, Chris Jericho, and fucking Ambrose so far. Don't know who the other 2 participants are. They don't matter. Or at least, hopefully, they won't matter. Seriously, if anybody besides Ambrose wins that fucking Money in the Bank contract, it's gonna suck. Because I still don't think Cesaro has been built up enough to go for the world title. Jericho doesn't deserve it because he needs to pack his bags and fuck off. Sammy also hasn't been built up enough to go for the title. Owens, well, I kept saying he needs to go on to bigger and brighter things after losing the Intercontinental title, but I don't know. But yeah, really, it's Ambrose. He needs to be the one who wins this fucking thing. And he needs to cash in the same night to make the match between Rollins and Roman a triple threat match. Because Ambrose is the face we need and the face we want right now. And he's definitely the face we deserve right now. I would love to see Ambrose walk out of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view as World Heavyweight Champion. After successfully cashing in the fucking contract. Hopefully in much the same way that Rollins did when Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank during the match between Roman and Brock Lesnar. I hope Ambrose does the same thing. Waits until Rollins and Reigns are both completely whooped, they've destroyed each other, and then out comes Ambrose, cashing it in, and he just decimates Rollins and pins him and takes the title. And then they can finally pull the trigger on turning Reigns the fuck heel. The storyline is easy as fuck. With Ambrose having done what I just described, Roman would see that as Ambrose betraying him and betraying their friendship. And Roman would go off the fucking deep end, beating the shit out of Ambrose. You turned on me, you betrayed me, you stole my fucking title from me. Me. And he turns heel. That is the only way that fucking pay-per-view needs to end. Anything else is dog shit. Period. So WWE, you better fucking listen this time. Roman Reigns is a fucking shit pile. No one likes him as a face. No one that matters. Stupid screaming hormonal girls that like him because he's pretty, and stupid little kids who will buy anybody as fucking face. These are the same stupid kids that like John Cena. Speaking of, they kept teasing Cena's return on Memorial Day next week. No one cares. Cena sucks, and we haven't missed him while he's been gone. Because the show, even though this one was dog shit, was still 1,000 times better than it would have been had John Cena shown his face at any time. We don't need you back, Cena. The show has been better without you. We know you're just going to come back to take the fucking US title away from Rusev again. And it'll be boring and no one will fucking care. We hate you, Cena. Stay away. Retire already. Haven't you made enough money? Retire and marry Nikki Bella and ride off into the fucking sunset, okay? Because we don't want you back in the WWE. That's it for Raw, folks. Show sucked. You had a couple of good matches. Couldn't save the show from being an utter shit pile. That was Raw from May 23rd, 2016, Baltimore, Maryland. Again, I don't know if they ever said the fucking name of the arena, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what arena it takes place in. It doesn't matter what city it takes place in. This match, this show, sucked. Like I said, I gave up as soon as Rollins decided to stay a heel. I have been your host, the World Predictions Champion. Thank you for watching the Wrestling Rant. Join us next time for the SmackDown spoilers. And we will see you next time for that. Good night, folks. And fuck this company!